School is a good thing. Learning is a good thing. I come to school to learn. I come to school to learn. I shall know ABC. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Papa. Angelina, oh Mama. Angelina, oh Papa. Jane, 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 Jane. Jane, 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 Jane and Law. This is a kind of song when you drive around North and South West region. During effective school resumption, you will get in most of the kindergarten and most of the secondary and primary school. But today, such a song has become extinct, as you will rarely hear this song when you drive around the North and the South West region as far as effective school resumption is concerned. Close to 70% of the schools have been abandoned and sometimes have been left in the hands of grass and animals. To those which are still being inhabited, sometimes they are being inhabited by those members of the non-state armed groups, and sometimes those within the state security forces using it as their camp in order to avenge or to battle with the ongoing Anglophone crisis. The truth of the matter here is that the crisis has greatly affected schools in the North and Southwest region. The Anglophone non-state armed groups for 4 years now have been using the no school effect as a weapon against the government of Cameroon, but they fail to realize that this non-school effect is adversely affecting those with whom they claim they are protecting. We've seen circumstances where parents manage to send their children to school. They are either being kidnapped and the children also being kidnapped. Sometimes the parents are being killed or asked to pay ransom in what they caption as fine for being a blackleg in order to send their children to school. Education is a good thing. Martin Luther King said education without moral is like a ship without a compass, mere wandering to nowhere. And we have seen nations grow because of education. And this time around, we have seen how those who claim they are liberating those of the North and Southwest region have turned out to become the oppressor in terms of education. Anglophone culture is the force of argument, but we have seen the argument of force being meted on others who are being forced not to send their children to school. We cannot equally refute the fact that there are challenges for parents not to send their children to school. The guns are still smoking as the government fly with armored cars and paraded with security forces chanting the effective school resumption. Parents on their part are left in the way of their own. It is time for parents to be protected, measures to be put in place to protect those who want to go to school. And it is time for people to understand that the effective school resumption is the only way out. We've seen how the non-state armed groups are claiming that they are fighting against marginalization of the Anglophone and assimilation, but saying that no schools should be for 4 years now, they are facilitating assimilation for those who have been able to go to the French-dominated regions. They have been assimilated for 4 years in terms of education. And we say we don't want marginalization. We've seen circumstances where for 4 years those of our brothers in the French-dominated region that have been sending their children to school. Ask yourself this: within the next 4 years, who are those that will rule Cameroon? Our children have been out for 4 years and their children have been on for 4 years in school. What lies the fate of us? The resumption of schools for the 2020-2021 is around the corner. How prepared are schools within the North and Southwest region with the pending impasse of coronavirus pandemic that has come and added to that of the economic crisis, the gun and battle we have in the North and Southwest region? This is House of Commons with me, Tamai Jarvis. You're welcome back from that brief transition. To all those of you who are watching us, we want to say happy Sunday to all those of you, and we apologize for the late start of today's edition of our program due to the nature at which our guests found themselves into on today's edition. Here in the studio, we have two of our guests who are already in the house, and one is still on his way. To begin with, I introduce to you Professor Mark Anthony, who is a Pan-Africanist and someone who has been advocating effectively for the unity of Africa and ensuring that the culture of Africa must be at its peak and must be protected, and fighting against cultural imperialism and of course technological imperialism. Professor Mark Anthony, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Jarvis, and to my fellow panelists, and to the million viewers out there watching at us this morning. I want to say it is a beautiful Sunday, and we are sorry for starting actually late because of some inconveniences. we believe that this Sunday is going to be another Sunday of education, which we are going to be able to communicate some sense and ideas which we could, by virtue of grace, meditate upon to make our path ahead.
Thank you very much, Professor Mark. And of course, I begin. Son Derek, you're welcome to the program. It's a privilege to have you.
Thank you very much, Dan Jarvis. It's a pleasure having you being the host of House of Common after a course of you being stolen on the 22nd of September. I'm glad you're back, and it's a pleasure. A big shout out to our listeners out there. We say may you stay tuned, and we pray that our contribution should be positive and positive contribution for nation building.
Thank you very much. All those of you who are watching us who have started sending in your SMS, we want to say welcome to you on board. And to kickstart the program today, we have two motions. The motion for today is the cancellation of Kumba City mayor election by the Cameroon Supreme Court. What is the effect on the common man, and what is the effect of those within the Kumba City Council? And the second motion for today is the effective school resumption in the North and Southwest region. How prepared are the schools? You listen to my editorial and the early commentary I gave there as far as school resumption is concerned, to understand the dynamics as to where we are today. I begin with you, Professor Mark. We've seen a landmark decision by Cameroon Supreme Court to annul the city council election of Kumba. What possible effect could this have on the people in Kumba?
Sincerely, I want to say that will be a reassuring move to most of the citizens of Kumba, because in the case at hand, most individuals in that particular municipality and in the area were not actually for the present mayor. Because you see, I have a problem with many of those who feel like they need to be able to consolidate power for themselves. Someone who has been as a government delegate for more than 12 years, it's practically difficult to deny the fact that he has been doing some work in Kumba, which is applauded. But it doesn't mean that when we say we need a mayor, the government delegate comes back in place and stays in power. Because to me, that seems to be a kind of should I say, a means of consolidating power, which is contrary to the choice of the people of Kumba, because it is among the CPDM, and I believe that the people of the CPDM faithfuls, and let me use that word, faithfuls, have their choice of who they actually wanted to be as the leader in that particular area, or let's use the word the mayor, the super mayor of that town. But in relation to the manipulation that came from behind, another person found himself in power. And this particular result from the Supreme Council is from the Supreme Court, I beg your pardon, is just a means to tell us that there is still a little bit of justice that could be meted from our courts. And there are still ongoing petitions, yes, post-electoral petitions, federal elections. Yes. As the Supreme Court, as far as SDF petition is still pending, and they are looking into the matter in some constituencies in Douala. That is the issue, and we believe that at the end of the day, there are going to be practical results, because this is a proof that something is happening. I think it's not only Kumba. There is Kumba and Kumbu. Yes. Something like that. I think one locality in the other region. So with that, it gives you the hope that there is a possibility for the law to be upheld in Cameroon in one way. I would not want to say that this issue of the mayor will actually create an issue, because it's between the CPDM. But you are within the CPDM, they are conservative, eh? We are not refusing their conservatives and their progressives, as we are trying to call, but progressives are not, they are minute, because they are having a different perspective of what they want. But the person who was supposed to be a contestant with the present mayor whose election has been cancelled, both of them were conservatives. What I'm looking at is the fact that it is not actually going to be an issue since it is within the party.
Reason advanced by the Supreme Court is that the election was not properly coordinated and that there are some irregularities as far as the election is concerned, which comes from the senior divisional officer at the time.
Yes.
And that it is good that the election be rerun. As far as that is concerned, will it not affect the development of the town, taking into context that the city may have been on for some months and projects have been done and project executions, contracts signed, partnership agreements?
The truth is that, I will still repeat this, it is of the CPDM. He won't come in and cancel every other project that had been made, except that he will need to be able to redraw them. He can go through them, assess them, and evaluate to find out if whatsoever the other mayor signed was okay. Not knowing, we are not already concluding that he is not going to still win his election. We are simply saying that in relation to the Supreme Court's decision, they need to go do things with open eyes. Nobody, you see, I have a problem today in Cameroon where I see administrators trying to impose. Administrators, their duty is not to impose who the people should elect. I was watching a program in the north where the chief of a particular class chief was supposed to be brought to power. In relation to the culture of the Bantu people, whom I know I'm part of, the Bantu people do not allow a person to be imposed on them. The people have kingmakers whom they believe in, the nobles. These nobles are the ones who actually enthrone a chief. An administrator does not bring a chief and place before people and say you should choose one. Already there, and there was a vote cast. There was supposed to be a vote cast, and most of it is that you are expecting a people who believe in customs and traditions to vote for somebody whom they don't know, who is not part and parcel of their village and whatsoever. A businessman, because he has money, he plays the cards and the administrator imposes him on the people. I was very happy when the people's audacity won in that case, because the people rejected outrightly and said we are not voting. The same thing with most of these situations where a mayor comes, a DO comes and says, okay, we need to, this is the person that you people need to elect. You are telling us who we elect. They make the choice within the party that this is who we want.
So you are saying that the Supreme Court decision is in effect to redefine democracy and put democracy on the
That is what I'm seeing, and that is what I'm appreciating, because in relation to that, it makes you see that there is a problem. Our administrators need to step out. Okay. If they want to be politicians, they should go into politics. But if they are to save the nation as administrators, it means they are an administrator is supposed to be non-partisan. An administrator is supposed to be like a steward of a particular area. If they have given you the opportunity to be a steward of an environment, if democratic principles are supposed to be one way put in place, allow them to be put in place. Okay. You don't enforce them. You don't struggle to manipulate them. Because what happened in Kumba, we are talking today, is as a result of the manipulation of the deal. Yes.
And there's a case. I'll come to you. There is a case as far as that is concerned. According to the we've looked at the decisions at the Supreme Court to annul the elections, city council elections, stating that there were irregularities as far as the elections were concerned, and that it should be rerun and should be done in a transparent manner with respecting the electoral procedures as far as voting a city mayor is concerned. And city mayors are voted by municipal councillors alongside the other officials involved, like the mayors already involved. Within this context now, will this have an effect to the people in Kumba City Council?
Talking about if it will have an effect.
First, how do you see
Well, I see the move as a good move. It shows a bit of transparency to the government and the Supreme Court. But unfortunately, it's not done in a camp where there is opposition. It's done in a place where they is strictly controlled by the CPDM. So it is a CPDM government taking a CPDM move for a CPDM favored re-election. It's not a guarantee that the person they are clamoring to change will not win. Because when he's already sitting on the chair, he has already created a lot of roots. And that's Cameroon. The problem with Cameroon leadership is that people rotate from one position to the other and they are the same people. And what I think is if these people, if our administrators will understand that what the people want is what is necessary. It is often said that the voice of the people is the voice of God. But unfortunately, we have administrators that when they are in position, they decide who to be there. And they want that person to work according to their controls. But if this one is changed, like I said, it's not a guarantee that this person who is there will not win again. He may still win. Unlike another person will win, but the good news is that it is going to be a CPDM winning. Nothing will change. It's not like it is CPDM against SDF or CPDM against MRC or whatever. It is CPDM against CPDM. So they are just trying to fix the house the way they want. And they talk about no proper coordination. And we hear about post-electoral petitions every day. Cameroon, I don't know what is keeping us back when we are dreaming of a 2025. We are dreaming of a 2025, and I don't know what keeps us 2035 rather. But we are still marking time. If you realize the great strength of Cameroon is like we take 2 steps ahead and 10 steps behind. We are not evolving at any time. This is a time, this is the 21st century where everything is done digital. But Cameroon, we still do things that there is no transparency. And there is no guarantee that the re-election will be transparent. Because the same people, the same coordinators, the same mentality will coordinate that election. And you said something about budgeting. You know, when it comes to accountability, it doesn't matter who is there. And that is the good thing about the Anglo-Saxon culture. They are more inclined with accountability. When your budget is set straight and the projects to carry out are straight, it doesn't matter who sits in that office. Once the accounts are clear, the person can see where you have ended and they will easily continue to execute the projects according to the people's will.
Okay, you are talking about the fact that it is a CPDM pure affair. There is a petition ongoing as far as SDF is concerned at the Supreme Court. And there could be likelihood that the Supreme Court welcome the move and they are looking into. And secondly, when we look at the context of Kumba, we should, I don't know, maybe if you say it's a CPDM affair, what do you mean by CPDM affair? If they cancel, if the Supreme Court sit and look at the fact that there were irregularities, the Supreme Court is not judging as far as party line is concerned, it's judging as far as the electoral code is concerned and irregularity is concerned.
Who controls that place is CPDM. And the truth is, it is not, if they say there were irregularities, it is not the oppositions that are coming to fight a position. They will still look within themselves of the same party to put in somebody there. So I see it is not a news-making affair.
Somebody there to be in charge of the people and for the good of Cameroon.
Of course, somebody to be in charge of the people and for the good of Cameroonians. But who is CPDM inclined? So it's more like an internal affair. Just like, please, who we wanted may not have come the way we wanted. Please, let's rerun this election so that we will have the person we want. If the voices of Cameroonians were heard, if our voices were heard the way they are supposed to be heard, then a lot of people sitting in some positions will not be there. But unfortunately, Cameroon is a country that is ruled by decree. The decision by the court is just something to applaud. It shows a little bit of a segregated move, coming different from the usual presidential decree we used to get. which we are happy to hear and we are happy to welcome, but the way it comes, it is a CPDM affair, and they are trying to manage it by themselves.
Okay, thank you very much. Come now to you, Professor Mark. We are looking at this. I want us to move a bit from the part of party lines, as many songs is saying that this and others are saying that it's more of a CPDM affair. That but you said there is hope for green light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, that is what I'm seeing. I'm not just looking at the fact that it's a CPDM issue, though I'm not denying that one, because from what you see there is between the CPDM. But that also indicates something, that there is a possibility for you to manipulate it today, and tomorrow you are corrected by the Supreme Court. And if that is made known, because a lot of them feel like they can do and go with it, but if they see the law being uplifted against manipulation, against corruption, against all that, that will indicate to many persons who have that same intention to play the same game, that if you are doing it, know that there is a law, with the law waiting for you ahead. That might give us a, should I use the word hope? I believe that if Africa is supposed to actually emerge and become what it's supposed to become, Africans must learn to get to a place where we stop being dictated upon. We start doing things the way we think that they are right to be done. You see, I just heard you talk of Anglo-Saxon culture. We are not English people. We are not the Saxons. We are Anglo. We are Africans. And I believe that there is a way that Africans used to use
African assimilated into Anglo.
We have been assimilated. I like what you just said. We have been deculturalized. In fact, worse of it, depersonalized. And now we are seeing ourselves in the light of the Caucasians. And we struggle to define ourselves based on Caucasian principles. Okay. But that is where we have a problem, because the so much division we have amidst us today and among us is as a result of the fact that we are identifying and labeling ourselves with people's identity, not ours. And that is where Africans will stay in one place. Okay. But if we get to a place where we uplift, because the rule of law in Africa is something that was not joked with. In Africa, you could not clown with the rule of law, because they knew the consequences of going against the law. And it was effective. You see, with the so much imposition that has been brought upon us, either by Arabians or by Caucasians, today it seems as if the African culture does not more exist. So coming back to your question is simple. Talking about the election and what the Supreme Court has done, is it possible that there's hope? Yes, there is hope.
Because we have that of SDF still pending.
That's why I say there is hope, a lot of hope. And it doesn't mean that we are endorsing the system that is in place. But I believe that there is hope that democracy that they are struggling to implant, which is fake democracy, can have its place.
Okay.
But if we are going to succeed, we must scrap that away, because that's not the kind of democracy Africa really needs to succeed.
Hi, Jarvis. Happy to see you back. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back. School is indeed a good thing. I enjoy your song. Putting the same government delegate back as city mayor is just like putting new wine in old wine skin. Say hi to Prof. Mark and Mr. Song. It's Esther from Yaoundé. And this other one, it says, good afternoon, good day. I am watching your program. Please, I need clarification. Is it the Constitutional Council that cancelled elections or Supreme Court, like the case in Kumba? It's coming from an anonymous sender. Just to let you know that the Constitutional Council proclaimed the result, and once you feel like it's been cheated, you petition at the level of the Constitutional Council. If it's unable to be resolved, you can take it to the Supreme Court. And equally, issues of that magnitude, as far as city council election is concerned, things should be done at the level of the Supreme Court, and the court we have the first court of first instance, we take it to court of first instance as far as municipal elections are concerned. If it's not handled, then the Supreme Court comes into place. This we say happy Sunday to you. I'm glad to have you back, Jarvis. Welcome, and God bless you. Happy Sunday to you and your team. Thank you very much, son. Now, a city mayor was voted. He's been in power for months, carrying out projects, sensitization project, development project, fighting ghost towns. We saw when he went and sealed shops. We saw the actions of cleaning the town, making the town to have a good facelift. We saw how he talked to the people. As far as that's concerned, he had an agenda, and probably has been using the funding as far as is concerned. And today the Supreme Court say, hi, you see, this election needs to be rerun, meaning that he is illegal as far as that is concerned. And what possible effect could this have now on the people whom he is under, whom he is coordinating now?
I have said it, and I'm repeating that anything that has a roadmap can be traced and can be followed. Now, when the Bible says you write down the vision so that those who read may run, and that's what we should welcome in Cameroon, to understand that it is not because somebody has a vision that it is the only person who can accomplish that vision. Any person who sits somewhere that there's a vision can run that vision. So it's not like a monopoly of the running. It's not a monopoly. And we are seeing that it's not a guarantee that he will not win. He may win, but this time in a transparent winning style. And if he doesn't win, he has a vision, and there is somebody to take over that position, let the person understand that there is something to be done. There are things that the people want, and he just needs to follow. Remember, Jarvis, when accounts are set straight, everything flows. You know, when you leave a particular office, and the office you leave, if the accounts are very clear, I come to that office and I sit, I see the accounts, I see the inflow, I see the outflow, I see the budgeting, and I know what is the plan of action. We will still run that vision. What if the person died? Does it mean we are going to stop running, carrying out the project because the person is not
an assistant city mayor? Is deputy will take care, but this time
there will be a new person.
Total annulation. You should know that when the news, if at all, is not voted, the new person will come with his team.
Jarvis, we are saying the same thing here, that this is simple rotation. What is happening in Kumba is not different from what happens in the nation at large, where a minister is removed from communication, sent to employment, someone removed from employment to higher education, and it's the same people. They understand the system. They know what is wanted. They have been trained. They have been groomed. They have been schooled on the working system of this system in Cameroon. And the systemic problem is embedded right in them. So nothing will change if another CPDM person takes over. It is the same old song. Nothing will change, and I will repeat, it is a CPDM affair.
Are you saying that there will be no development in Kumba? We have seen great experts as far as Kumba is concerned. The city is clean, electricity is flowing in Kumba. We've seen how kind of stability is built in Kumba.
You know, what stability defined per you? The stability is when somebody goes and steals a shop and people are fighting. Sometimes we define stability to be absence of gunshot. It's a lie. There are times that we are quiet. We think things are stable, whereas the war that is boiling in us is heavier than the physical war you see. Because there are accumulated problems that come over time. And when you're talking about these people go around frightening people to open their shops, if they don't open, they pay 25,000. How stable is stability in that case? There is no stability.
Thank you, son Derek. We'll take on this brief transition. When we come back, we'll take on a second motion for today, which is school resumption. How prepared are schools in the north and southwest region as far as Rancho Scholar is concerned? 4 years on, guns are still smoking in the hinterlands in the north and southwest region. Government is championing the cause for effective school resumption. Civil society organizations are clamoring that schools should effectively resume. The teachers are begging to go back to their classroom. The students are begging to go back to the environment they are familiar with. Yet the non-state armed group says no school. What lies the fate of the nation and those who are supposed to be educated? This is House of Common Part 2. We'll be back. I started with a song. School is a good thing. Learning is a good thing. I come to school to learn. I shall know ABC. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Papa. Angelina or Mama. Angelina or Papa. Jane, hello. Those of you and all those of you who passed through the kindergartens, you know that song very well. And today it is rare to see that song in North and Southwest region. The song you will hear in North and Southwest region to the few kids still left in the villages who are not going to school is Iyo Kao and Jamanjama Kao, Mamigo from Gambia. And these are the kind of songs you will get, and you will see them playing around, roaming around. And what is the fate of those with whom we think we want to build the nation with? Song Derek, I kickstart this phrase with you. 4 years on, how prepared are the schools for North and Southwest region?
Thank you very much.
An educational family.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jarvis. You know, there is no reason we should treat the future of the kids we are fighting for the sake of a war. The truth of the matter is that the two parties have decided that the war will not end. And so there is a need to see a reason and a possibility for children to go back to school, because we will not remain illiterate because there is war. And if something needs to be done by both parties, if it is possible, it is necessary that they create even a buffer zone, a zone that is suitable for the children to school, that these guns will stop smoking in the street. We understand that parents are very much afraid. Some parents per se are very much afraid to send their children to school. For those who say they prefer illiterate children than educated cops. We understand all those things, but nonetheless, it's high time that the restorationists and the Cameroon government understood that it is necessary for these children to go back to school, and this environment has to be created. That environment has to be a very conducive environment. Nobody learns comfortably with guns. I remember in 2012 there was an uprising in the University of Boya. There was a serious uprising in the University of Boya, and I remember at that time the military people, they came into the campus and the place was so calm. But after a very short time where students were trying to go back to their classroom, it's very uncomfortable studying with guns around, even in the name of protection, because when you are studying with gunmen around you, you see danger coming, even when the danger is not coming. Because before now, we have always gone to school without military men around us, without any fear. We get up in the morning, we go to school, there is no protection, and we come back, we are so happy. There's that free environment, and we discuss freely. But now, to go to school, it seems you have to pass through checkpoints, you have to pass through checks and balances.
Before moving to that, I want to find out how prepared are the schools. You are seeing the feasibilities. How prepared are these schools for 2020-2021 school year? You are an educationist, probably have been talking to some who have run teachers of colleagues of yours who have run away from the villages like in Kwakwa, Nakebole, Bombe Bakundu, Barangi, Banga Bakundu, Ikona, Mamu, and all the right. And how prepared are these schools?
Let's be very sincere. If it's talk about schools, very few schools will be prepared, because if we talk even about the environmental setting, the school is attended now by grass, very heavy grass, and even trees. For 4 years that people have not been going to school, there are only trees. It's inhibited by goats, dogs, and whatever. And in your opening statement, you made it clear that some of these schools, the residents of this school are either the restorationists or the state armed forces. Have they left it? Have they liberated it for people to go there? If we talk about the schools being prepared, it's a doubt. And even the teachers, if we want to be sincere to ourselves, you understand that the most government teachers, because in Southern Cameroon, one of the highest things that we could boast of was the education system. That was the highest industry we could say we have in southern Cameroon. The Sase and whatever schools you call in southern Cameroon soils. Those were the best. But most of these teachers, they have run for their life. They are nowhere to be found. And even if children go back to the classroom, where will the teachers come from? Because it is true that the government may force the government teachers to go back on seat. And even if they are going back on seat, they'll be running and coming back, going back to safety, because you go to school and teach where there is a military protection camp, you come back home and there's no military protection in your house.
They are not prepared.
There is no preparation.
Coming back to you to find out how should they be prepared for the effective school resumption. Professor Mark, January 9th of January, the first ghost town was called 2017, and that was the turning point of effective no school resumption. But in 2016, late 2016, we have had no school. But we were expecting that schools will resume on the 9th of January. But the band consortium then, under the leadership of Barrister Bara and that of Tassan Wilfred, came out strongly and said, by Monday we'll know if Yaoundé controls us or we control our people. Until date, schools have seemingly, over 80% have seemingly been paralyzed. How prepared are these schools? You are a parent, you are someone who is a professor, you teach, and how prepared are these schools from what you see, from the light of Room, Way, Jimicom, Jimikijin, Agokunjaman, from the like of Akwaya, all these areas, are they prepared?
The preparation that we need at present is more of let the armed guys give up their guns.
No, we're coming back to the preparation. I want to find out if...
Yes, and let the military actually stop the, like in Bamenda, the cleansing that they are doing, because that's a worst step to take in a crisis. I will be sincere to say that from my own observation, there is practically no practical path to complete full resumption, let me use tautology, of schools in the northwest and southwest in some particular areas. Those who are clamoring for total resumption of schools do not realize that there is still a problem where bullets are flying to and fro. As long as there are bullets flying to and fro, the safety of those children cannot be guaranteed. I am one of those who is for school resumption. I'm one of those who wants that children should go back to school. But if you look at it, most of the areas which we are expecting that schools should resume at are those areas in the rural environment, in villages, because in cities schools have been going on. But those kwakwa that you just mentioned, places like Bonje, places like, just keep naming those far areas, you discover that there are schools that for 4 years the doors have not been opened. When you enter there, what welcomes you is bush. For example, in Moyoka, if you go to GBHS Moyoka, what welcomes you is a thick bush. The question is, okay, what? GBHS Moyoka is practically in the town, but it is impossible for schools to resume there. Why? That's a question that we need to answer. When we say we want back to school, we need that school should resume. Let's accept that this school actually resume. As a parent, when you sit at home, what would be the state of your heart? Your heart, you hold your heart in your hands, because You'll be afraid at every given moment that things could turn out.
Southwest Governor Bernard Okalia Bilai says all necessary security measures have been put in place to ensure that the students return safely to school, and those teachers who ran away from their different villages, let me land, those teachers who ran away from their different villages, different schools, should go and will be given protective measures if they go and give their name to the regional delegate for secondary education. And the regional delegate for secondary education for the Southwest region, Madam Hannah Itonembua, said all is set for schools to resume within the perimeters of the government of Cameroon, and that measures will be put in place to secure the children. And thus, the one for the Northwest region, the governor of the Northwest region, Adolphe Mele Afrique, has again reassured parents that this time around all necessary measures will be put in place for schools to effectively resume. And the regional delegate for secondary education in the Northwest region has come up powerfully, stating that they've ordered the teachers who ran away from their villages, from the different schools, who are in now or what we call resettlement schools in quote, should go and give their names, and they will be giving escort or protection as far as this is concerned. Do you think that's possible? As looking at the landscape, I just said let me give you the clue so that you understand the government position as far as effective resumption is concerned.
That government's position is the fake position that has always been since the beginning of this.
But what do you describe as fake?
Why I say fake position is because at every given moment, instead of telling the truth, they'll always come and say every measure has been put in place to make sure that there is security. When of recent, I don't know if you watch the video showing how they were cleaning the compound of the governor of the Southwest region, because he was expecting the visit of the Minister of Decentralization.
How far are you sure that video is accurate?
It might not be accurate, but that
because the governor has been there on seat.
The governor, to me, from that video, I will conclude that if that video is true, then he was not living in his house. Where was he living? He should have been living in Douala, then only going back to Boya. Why? He is afraid. And if his life is not perfectly, is not at security, what about those teachers? Are we refusing that there should not be schools? No. Please let the crisis stop. That's the only way. Let them solve the problem so that our children can go to school freely. We should stop playing this ping-pong game. When we keep on with this game, at the end of the day, the truth is that we are destroying the nation. We are not building it. To build a nation, you build a nation with truth, not with lies. When you say everything has been made possible, can they actually go to the interiors there and protect the lives of those teachers there? It's not possible. Okay. It's not we do not have enough military that can be one-on-one with each person. So if you tell me that I am well protected, at least I should have 2 military people that will be with me at every given moment, anywhere I'm going. And even the 2 military, their lives are also at stake as long as they are protecting me. And how many teachers will they be able to protect in the Northwest and Southwest? Is that their duty? Is that why they became military people to become bodyguards? That's not true. So when they say every measure has been put in place to make sure school resumption, necessary measures, those necessary measures that have been put in place, what are those necessary measures? That they are doing clean Bamenda, and I heard the governor say that he's going to continue it, so that for him that's a way to prepare for schools to resume.
I will coming back to you.
You are radicalizing every other person. That's terrible.
I will come back to you. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back. You are one of my best journalists. God bless you. God bless you that you were not roughly handled. Mama Gloria from TKC Yaoundé. Mama Gloria, it's a pleasure to have you welcoming me. And this other one says, good day to you all in the studio. I think I like this topic. My media prime, you guys are the best. Keep it up. I believe that one day the voice of Anglophone will be heard only through my media prime. And this other one reads, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. I think that schools should not resume at this point point in time that we still have guns, the north and southwest region, to me, I don't think I may be able to send my children to the schools in north and southwest region, except I have money to send them to Douala, where they will also be assimilated. That's the sad reality. This is coming from an unknown sender. Please, whenever you send us a message, assign it so that we can properly acknowledge you. Sunday, you've listened to Professor Mark, Governor of the Southwest region, Governor of the Northwest region, both governors articulating that all necessary security measures have been put in place to ensure that teachers, pupils, parents, and the school safe as far as school resumption is concerned, as far as continuation of the process is concerned. Maybe they may have learned their lessons within the past 3 years, 4 years counting, and they want to re-strategize to ensure effective school resumption. And the regional delegates for secondary education for the Southwest and the counterparts of the Northwest region have reassured again parents and teachers that measures have been put in place. Equally with the regional delegate of basic education, reassuring that measures have been put in place. And the vice chancellors of both universities, that of Boya and that of Bamenda, have also reassured parents that measures will be put in place. Do you think that there is hope that proper preparations will be done in the days ahead?
Thank you very much, Jarvis. To be sincere, it's only an uneducated person that will accept that school should not go. Once you are educated and you can speak, you should accept that school should go. But can you quote me one instance that this government has ever said they are not prepared? They are always prepared, but the truth is that it never yields any results. You know, what we are dealing with as new schools in southern Cameroon is not a cause, it's an effect. And this government has to be serious to understand that there is a difference between a cost and effect. There is a cost of why people are not going to school. And not going to school is an effect of that. And illiteracy is a higher degree of that effect. We are asking ourselves, these measures put in place, how many teachers are there in the southern Cameroon soil? How many students, how many pupils are there? How many parents are there? Are we sure we are going to have a one-to-one military teacher, one-to-one military people, and one-to-one military parents protection? Let us be very sincere when we are talking to ourselves. You know, the kidnapping that goes on in southern Cameroon, it is very difficult to attribute it whether it is the restoration doing it, or it is the military doing it, or it is a third party who has taken advantage of a spillover effect to gain from these things. So why not sit down and solve the problem? There are a lot of things that will fall automatically when the problem is solved. There are a lot of things that will go back in place when the problem is solved. But when we keep doing this window dressing, flower beds decoration, things that the government is taking, we are afraid that we are using the wrong formula all the time and getting the wrong result, yet doing the same thing.
And that's defined as madness.
This is not serious. It shows that we are not serious. Jarvis, how do you reconcile the fact that in 2017, all necessary measures were put, nothing happened. 2018, all necessary measures were taken, nothing happened. 2019, all necessary measures, and now it's 2020 with the COVID pandemic. All necessary measures have been taken, and these necessary measures are taken on the platter of I beg. When Jarvis, tell me, did you go to school under I beg go to school? Did the government come to your father to say, please send your child to school? This thing is automatic. So at the moment we are being begged to send our children to school or to go to school, there is a problem somewhere. And that problem has to be solved. That?
At the time we went to school, there was no crisis. The crisis was not at the violent stage. It was still at the structural violence.
That is why I am telling you that what is happening in Southern Cameroon is an effect. Remember, the refusal of the existence of a known problem is a direct and indirect invitation of unknown problems. We are not dealing with unknown problems because we refuse the existence of a problem we know and we could handle. if this crisis, if the core problem is handled, in fact, before you come to Bamenda, before you go to Kumba, you will see the schools cleared, clean, and the benches offered even by parents, because parents are thirsty for their children to go back to school. Everybody wants school resumption, but nobody wants an educated corpse.
Nobody wants an educated corpse. I stay with you before coming to Professor Mark. We are looking at this context now as far as the government is stating that they have learned a lot as far as the crisis is concerned, and they are going to implement a lot of strategies to ensure that the children are safe. But my question to you as a teacher, what could be the safety measures that you suggest to be given to teachers so that they can teach during this period amidst the ongoing conflict? Because some scholars will argue that in Afghanistan schools are ongoing, in Syria schools are ongoing, in Libya schools are ongoing, in some of these hard hit conflict zones schools are ongoing, and measures were put in place to solve to mitigate the violence against teachers, against students, and against the parents.
You know, at this level, like you said, what has to be done is mitigation, because the effects will keep coming, but we need to reduce the effect. In a place like Victoria, schools have been functioning. If the government can decide to make Victoria, Beya, and Bamenda buffer zones of some particular schools, we think that teachers will be more secure, because it will be a communicated idea to the both parties that please, even if there is an attack, because I told you from the beginning that since the both parties have accepted that this war should not end, it is necessary that the both parties should accept a buffer zone where teachers can freely go to school. Remember, the restorationists have children going to school. They have children. The military people, they have children. The government officials, they have children. So it is a moment to accept buffer zones, because schools that are going on in Afghanistan, they are not going on where the war is heated. They are going on in buffer zones that have been created, where no matter how much attack there is, those two parties will never fight there. But the Cameroon situation is quite difficult, because fightings are sporadic. You don't know when attacks come. It can come in the morning, in the afternoon, it can come in Beya Central Town, it could come in Bamenda Central Town, and we don't know. So the two parties can accept and create the city, whether it is Bamenda Town, Beya, Limbe. But if you say that these places should accept school, and whether there's an attack, we should not go near these zones, then it will be good.
But it's happening now, because in Boya, Professor Mark, and so in Boya, schools have been on. In Kumba, schools have been on. In Bamenda, schools have been on. In Limbe, schools have been on, except in the notes and crying in the sub areas that we don't have schools. Are those not already existence of buffer zone?
That's me. If I should step in there, I want to say, from my understanding of school resumption in Cameroon, they are not looking at ideas of buffer zone. The intention of the government is that schools should resume everywhere. But even though they want that schools should resume everywhere, they are not ready to make sure that the problem is handled the way it is supposed to be handled. Why am I saying handled the way it's supposed to be handled? It's true that the government believes that they have the upper hand in this situation. It's true that the government believes that it should not negotiate with terrorists, in quotes, and it is true that the government believes that people should not rise against state institutions and be pampered, which all are okay. But I believe that when a child in the house gets angry and the father gives the child a beating, and the child gets let me say wayward and starts misbehaving, it is not in the place of the father to kill the child. It is in the place of the father to bring back the child close to him and be able to give him the right direction. But our government, which we consider now to be the father, is instead of pulling back the child close, is struggling to kill the child. And if you want to kill the child and then you expect that the child should go to school when the child is dead, then that's a wrong path. So when you ask that question, if those areas are not buffer zones, those are not buffer zones because you can see today, like someone rightly said, there are sporadic gunshots at times that happen, and in a kind of simultaneous manner where you are not expecting it. You just see, like today they are talking of clean Bamenda. It is happening because at a particular period those armed restorationists entered the city and started shooting in the middle of the city. What do you expect? If schools were on, don't you think some students would have been shot dead? Apart from that, look at situations that have passed in the past. Many cities have been attacked. Bamenda has been attacked. Boya has been attacked. Kumba has been attacked when schools were going on. And what happened with the students? They ran home and stayed home. So as a parent, as long as the schools are open, and I'm still seeing those armed restorationists carrying guns, I'm still seeing the military with guns around the streets, I will restrict my children from going to school. I'm being sincere here. And in the midst of that, though I want them to go to school, because I'm talking here like this, my first daughter has finally not been going hard to school again. Why? Because she thought that her friends had gone ahead of her. She was supposed to be in the university, and since she could not write the first year, the second year, she stopped going to school. I'm using this to talk because at this particular moment, even though I've been struggling to force her to go to school, it is difficult for you to impose on her at that age. Already she's 20 years. She's no more a child. And these younger ones, some of them stayed for 2 years without going to school. We are talking, there are some in those interiors for 4 years they have not gone to school. What do you expect? There is no parent that wants to keep their child home. Every parent wants their child to go to school. Every child. I remember today morning my son was like, Daddy, I want to go to school when school started. That is the desire of the child. But we can't be openly promoting the death of a child when we know that a problem is hitting on the streets and actually nothing is done to handle it. Some of my colleagues and friends will say that the government has done a lot to handle it. At least it has given an opportunity, amnesty, because we call that, to those who are carrying arms. Drop your arms, go to the center, and you will be pardoned. It is good. That's good. But I want to say that as long as somebody have tested the power of a gun, it is practically difficult for him to let go of it. Some individuals who have not been benefiting from this particular crisis will abandon their guns easily. So are you saying that those who have been benefiting from it will not drop their guns because they believe that that gun will be giving them money?
Are you saying in essence that parents will not be wanting to send their children to school, not because they don't like the idea of school resumption, but because of the fact that they don't have their own armor cars and personal...
That is simple. That is the simple truth. Every parent wants their child to go to school. All of us, we are clamoring for school resumption. But at the same time, we need to protect the lives of our children.
The Cameroon
and so
government says measures will be put in place. Maybe
we are
people will be transported using the police van up and down.
For how long will you protect our houses the same way?
How many
Because I will be sincere. If you can carry our children to school to and fro, you protect them around the school, you need to also make sure you protect our houses. Because in these days, you can be standing somewhere and those boys just take you. You don't know how. You are gone. Then, for the past while, I've not seen the military being able to stop that from happening. So why do you think that it will be now that I should believe that they are going to solve it? Because I've seen that the best way they want to do it is to kill all of those guys. And the more you kill one today, the more you are radicalizing others to join.
Okay. Nice program here. The government is only prescribing cosmetic measures. Better an illiterate child, a live child than a death shooting child. Divine from Limbe. This one reads, I am Lengue Valentine watching from Germany. Thanks for this wonderful topic. When we talk of safety of government of Cameroon, Cameroon can't provide safety to the people of this shooting area. They will only protect their people. Look at what happened last week. There was a demonstration in Douala, but killings were not done. Thank you very much. This one says, good afternoon to you all in the studio. I wonder how schools will go while guns are still being used to harass people. For example, in Santa, where I am right now, especially in Pini, in fact, all the schools in Santa will not go. I can't send my kid to school while guns are being used to intimidate them. It's coming from Johnson. This one really says, more than 90% of the people of Northern Southwest region want school resumption, but they cannot go out to say it publicly for fear of the unknown, especially those in the war hit zone like Muyuka, Ikona. But for some people to say necessary measures have been put in place is a blatant lie. In as much as we want the better Cameroon, we should bend. I'm telling the truth. Just to say welcome back and thank God he did not go through the Wazizi's way. It's come from Eze the Mayor, and this other one it says, good afternoon, it's Momo from Yaoundé. My concern is, why did they first of all disrespect the rule of law by electing the city mayor, and later started complaining that they want to change him? It's just on serious move from the justice system. Good afternoon. I am concerned. Good afternoon. As far as I'm concerned, the parents in those Anglophone areas should send their kids to school. Enough of this useless threat from the failed separatist fighters. Coming from Madame Mo from Yaoundé. You want to react to that?
No, she has
Greetings to you on the studio, Taj Jarvis. We are grateful to have you back. We thank God for your life. Shout out, Charlotte, writing from Yaoundé.
You know, Jarvis, talking about school resumption, I don't think there's any picture of no school resumption. And I've said it clear that if somebody is telling you that school should not resume, that person should be uneducated and wants everybody to be at his level. We all want school to resume, but we want safety. Just take for instance, from March 18 to now, Cameroonian children have not been going to school for 7 months due to the COVID pandemic. But if you see how anxious parents want their children to go to school, they were just waiting for the minister to tell them that schools will resume, and they start rushing. When the holiday classes was banned, parents got frustrated because they had expected that these children, when they usually stay home for just 3 months, it's headache. Now it's 7 months, almost a year that children have been home, and the parents are anxious that the children should go back to school. You are talking about 4 years experience of illiteracy, and you think we are going to push that schools should not go back. Schools have to go back, but those people who control the epicenter of what has to happen know what to do. And if what has to be done is not done right, wrong things will keep happening, and we keep talking about cosmetic solutions of all necessary measures taken and no measure working.
I think that's heavy, eh? Just to equally let you know that the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Naiva Lyonga, has been working tirelessly to ensure that the schools within the northern southwest region pick up steam in the same steam as that of the other regions in the different regions. Professor Mark, do you think that the minister this time around will be able to turn the tides around? Because it first started with the former Minister of Secondary Education, who is now the Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Marcel Bidingale, who was the Minister of Secondary Education at the time from 2016-17, and now it is our own Madam Professor Nalova Lyunga. Are you confident that she could be able to do the magic? She's an Anglophone and she understands the system.
She does not understand the system. Nobody understands the system of guns. As long as guns are outside, there is nobody that has a mastery. Because you might be a state minister and you are respected by the state military, but those boys will not respect you. So all the decisions you might make will not have any impact on them. So I don't think that she has the magic wand to use in changing the situation, except the problem is solved. Because you see, it is funny when we come and we say every necessary measure has been put in place to make sure that schools resume. Those necessary measures might be necessary measures concerning the COVID-19 stuff. If that is it, then I know that they have done their work. But if it is concerning Northwest and the Southwest, which is a crisis zone, I want to say that there is no preparation that is enough more than solving the entire problem and releasing the people from this bondage which they are presently in. If we look at the situation at hand, you can't claim that there is any necessary you call it what? Necessary measures.
All the necessary measures have been
in fact, all, not just some, all the necessary measures that have been put in place are not enough to even permit one child to go to school and sit there. That's the thing that I would say. Why? Because
the government is encouraging the formation of vigilante group to beef up the security.
If you say you are encouraging vigilante, means they are at the same time encouraging thieves to start harassing people. The same thing that we saw happening in
civil and military cooperation when
we saw those things happening. The Ngabu situation happened because vigilante groups actually took marches and started killing people.
You have evidence of that?
The government proved it, that there were vigilante young men who, the Mbororo boys there. Was it not the government who told us that? So you are asking me for proofs? That's enough proof. So if one happened, it means it can happen everywhere.
Of course.
So it is not something we should encourage, that there should be vigilante groups. But we should be able to make sure that every citizen should become a Republican. If every citizen is a Republican, such situations will not happen. But how are we encouraging every citizen to become a Republican when at the same time we are oppressing them? Those are some of the things that I'm looking at which I have as a problem. I believe that you see, I have a problem because the same culture we were supposed to be empowering to stay and keep people together, those cultures are being destroyed. Then you are destroying the culture of a people, then you expect that these same people should stand for you. Why do I bring this in? I'm bringing this in because you can't imagine that a Fon who has mastery of his village is being controlled and imposed upon by a Dio who does not understand his people. And once you do not understand that, what happens? You will force the chief or the Fon to go towards a direction which his people will riot against him. And at the end of the day, there is a division between the people and the Fon. And that already creates a division between the government and the people.
Okay.
So in such a case, you end up creating a problem where when you tell the people to become Republican, they tell you you are their oppressor. And that is where what we have as a problem right now in Cameroon, where those who are governing, they have forgotten why they were put in place to govern. They have become those who are creating the problem rather than solving the problem.
Thank you very much, Professor Mark. I think we are slowly running short of time here in the studio. Before we take leave of you, it's a good day to you in the studio. I prefer a lively literate than a dead child. with a PhD, and it is sad. The only wise that can dance, the only wise that can dance the melody of life cannot be dancing to the sound of any guns while our children go to school. It's coming from prison from Cape Town. And this one which says, I am Luma Solomon. Let us be realistic here about school resumption. The idea of school resumption is in the Anglophone region is a joke. The government of Cameroon knows exactly what to do. Etudi knows what the cabal knows exactly what to do to solve the problem. Anglophones are anxious to resume school, but under the Canada of Etudi. I don't understand your message again. This is a happy Sunday to you all in the studio. And I think because of time constraint, we may not be able to take all those of you who have sent us their SMS. This one which says, good afternoon, is Emmanuel Tazinu from Isongu. There can be no school with a military on a street. This one which says, good afternoon to you all in the studio. I tell you the truth. The truth is senseless. Talking about what they know very well, but we refuse to accept it. No amount of your talking or point of view will change their way of doing things. They have always been preparing tax. Please, if you send us your SMS, tell us where you are and avoid offensive messages. I think we are slowly but surely coming to an end of this program. Professor Mark, before we take leave of your last word.
I encourage that Cameroonians should become Republican and get to respect Republican institutions, and at the same time I call on our leadership to get to respect those who have put them in place and giving them the mandate of to take that sovereign leadership over the nation, knowing very well it is not theirs, it has just been given to them. It is time for us to respect the social contract that was signed during the moment of our ballot boxes. When we went to vote for you, we gave you our rights to lead us, but we did not tell you that you are gods over us. So I think it is time for us to do the right things so that our nation can move forward, rather than keep on playing the games that we are playing and manipulating the people and claiming that we are giving them all the necessary you call it necessary what again? Necessary measures to deal with issues. Let us be civil and let us be Republicans.
Song David, yeah, that's what for taking of you briefly.
Thank you very much, Jarvis. Thank you, dear viewers. I think the magic of success in any society lies in its education system. We all need to be educated, we all need to go to school, but education and war are not friends. And speaking to the government of Yaoundé, I'm sure, very, very sure you know what to do. You have been told by international organizations, civil society activists, you have been told by professors, you have been told by doctors, you have been told by the low class and the forgotten what to do, and you know exactly what to do. Please stop using our lives as experiment. We are tired of being used in the laboratory to prove force, to prove power. Please get to the table, settle this problem. Let's go back to school. Let's build our beautiful country. Once again, Jarvis, thanks for inviting me, and I'm glad to have shared the platform with Professor Mark Anthony.
Good, well said, guys. Great guys. This one comes from Matt Fasson. My brother Jarvis is back after swimming in the soup. Thank you. This one has a greetings to you, Jarvis, and the co-panelists in the studio. Thank you very much for your SMS. This one it says, hi, it is Auntie JD from MEC. There will be school in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Auntie JD are prophesizing. Okay, viewers, that was it for today's edition of our program. That was how we saw things here at want to participate on House of Commons, the numbers are already on your screen. You know what to do. Hook up with us on the numbers on your screen. If you may want to be a panelist on subsequent edition, you can link to us. The telephone lines are open, and www.btmediagroup.net is our official website, and you can get to us on Facebook, My Media Prime. You can get to us on Facebook, My Media Prime. Today's edition was produced by Desmond. I leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matter is your matter. No matter the matter, what matter is your matter. And what should matter for you today is that the truth is God. You can only kill the teller, and you cannot kill the truth. If you kill the teller, the truth remains to haunt you. I am Tamai Jarvis. Bye bye from this end, and goodbye again.